Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be talking about the basics that we need to know just so we can communicate and have a base from which to learn upon. And what we're going to be talking about are the names of the parts of the guitar. We're going to be talking about the string names and the letter names and how they correspond to the guitar. We're going to be talking about the names of our hands outside of just right and left, but also the letters and numbers associated with the fingers. And last but not least, we're going to be talking about how to hold the guitar. But first, make sure you've got your guitar fretboard sheet and a piece of paper so you can do a little bit of drawing with me. But before we begin to draw, let's take a look at the guitar in reality. And we're going to start by looking at the neck. This is the neck of the guitar. If you can gather that this is the neck, that means this is the head or the headstock. And this makes this the body of the guitar. At the head, or at the headstock, we call it, we have these tuners. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tuners, one for each string. On the other side, we have the bridge. The bridge is where the strings connect to the top of the guitar. And then there's this little white piece here. This is a decorative piece, but this white piece here is called the saddle, and the strings sit on the saddle. Also important to note is this hole here. This is the sound hole. This is what allows the air to escape from the chamber here, and it helps to facilitate the vibrating of the top of the guitar, which is what amplifies the vibrating of the strings to make sound. At least we have this white piece up here. This is called the nut, and this is the other place where the strings set. So you have the bridge down here, and then the white bone saddle on my guitar, but sometimes they're hard plastic. And up here you have the nut. The nut is where the strings sit above the fretboard. Last but not least, I mentioned the neck, but the neck is also known as the fretboard because these little metal things here are called frets. You use those to change the string's sound. Okay, so now let's do some drawing. All right, so here's my goofy little PowerPoint that I've done for you. And look at that happy guitar instructor. He is excited to talk to you about the fundamentals. As mentioned before, you're going to need this sheet here that is in your guitar, that is in your files menu in Canvas, and it's called the guitar fretboard diagram. And that's what it looks like there on the right of your screen. These are diagrams of the neck or the fretboard, and you can see the little lines moving across here are frets. And here's the fretboard diagram focused on just one of them. Again, this is the neck here. And the lines, as I was saying, are the frets. So on this diagram here, hopefully you've already labeled the neck and the frets. I want you to draw the headstock. As you can tell, I'm very concerned about the artistic abilities of your drawings. They just need to be functional. That's all we're going for. And my drawings are to prove the point. Now draw the 6 tuners. One for each string. And now draw the body. Just a little tiny body for the guitar. Not a lot of space on that sheet. Now draw the sound hole. The bridge. That's where the string's attached to. The saddle, that was the white part I was talking about in the video. That keeps the strings above the fretboard. Last but not least, label the nut. Such beautiful drawings here. All right, moving on. Now let's talk about the string names and the frets. So use another one of your fretboard diagrams. And on this one, we're going to write in the letter names of the strings. The letter names are E, A, D, G, B, and E. E, A, D, G, B, and E. Or another way to remember it is Eddie, 8, dynamite, goodbye, Eddie. If that's not really your boat, you could also think about every acid dealer gets busted eventually. I'd love to hear if you come up with a new one, so just let me know and send them to me. The strings also have numbers, and the numbers start at 6 on the left and then move to 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Think about it as if when you're holding the guitar as the first floor is on the bottom and the 6th floor is on the top. Also, note that the strings are always circled. This is common guitar nomenclature, so keep that in your brain as we move forward, because that'll help you keep from getting confused with your fretting hand fingers. Frets are also numbered. The first fret is the one closest to the nut. Then you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. The 12th fret is just beyond the double dot there in your diagram. And on a classical guitar, as I pointed out earlier, it's where the fretboard and the body meet. But on a steel string, that's not quite the same. It's just right after that double dot. So go ahead on your own now and write in the frets as well on that guitar fretboard diagram. As I mentioned, notice that 12 is after the double dots. Also important, notice that the nut is fret 0. Go ahead and write that in as well. Now let's do just a little bit more theory, and this is just to make sense of where these letter names are coming from. For those of you who've played piano, you can see a keyboard on there. You might have learned the notes of the white keys. If you can see the keyboard there clear enough, that you can see there's patterns, right? You can see there's 2 black keys kind of grouped together, and then there's 3 black keys. And then the white keys, you can see there's 2 white keys right next to each other, to the left of the 2, let me highlight this, to the left of these 2 notes, to those 2 keys. See those 2 together? And you can see these 2 are together. Well, the names of these keys are as follows. So it starts out with A. Then you have a little dot here to represent the black key. And then you have B and C. B and C are together. And then C has a dot. D is a loner. And then you have another space here that takes you to E. E and F are buddies, but G needs its space. And then we're back to A. And this pattern keeps repeating over and over on the keyboard. So you can think about it like this. You have A space B and C are buddies, space D, space E and F are buddies. Then you have G and A. So everyone is a loner except for B and C are next to each other and E and F. The dot again equals the skipped key, or in the case of the guitar, a skipped fret. If you can always remember that B and C and E and F are they're besties, they're buddies, and that everyone else needs their space, you can pretty much find out where the notes are on the fretboard at any given time. So let's do this on the A string. So we'll begin by remembering the names of the strings. We have Eddie, 8, dynamite, goodbye, Eddie. And now on the A string, we remember that, oh wait, there's a space. So you skip one fret, you skip the first fret, and at the second fret you would put B. Well, B and C, they're buddies, so C is on the 3rd fret. Okay, but D needs some space, so there's D on the 5th fret. E also needs to respect D's space, but E has its buddy. G is loner, and then we're back to A. Also a loner. So go ahead now and write these letters on the fretboard diagram. Oh, one more important thing to note is that at the 12th fret, notice that there it is at A again. Next week, we'll also find the notes on E and D. We have to continue our vocabulary here and talk about the hands here. So hands have labels, and our playing hand, which is often considered the right hand for many players, or abbreviated RH, is the hand that makes the string sound. In the video, you notice that I play right-handed. It's ironic because I'm actually left-handed, but my right hand is the sounding hand. So I'm going to draw my right hand like so. The fingers are named P, I, M, A, C. Thumb is P, index is I, middle is M, ring is A, and pinky is C. This is because it comes from the Spanish. Pulgar is thumb, índice is index, medio, middle, anular, or annular is actually a medical term for your ring finger, is A, and then chiquito or cuarto is your pinky finger. The fretting hand, often labeled the left hand, and if you notice, I am using my left hand as the fretting hand, is the hand that presses the strings into the frets to change the pitch of the string. So go ahead and draw your left hand, and we're going to label it where thumb is T, index is 1, middle is 2, ring is 3, and pinky is 4. The thumb gets a letter T in this case because it's not used very often. Also, notice no circles, right? The circles are for string numbers. So if you haven't drawn your hands already, go ahead and draw them and label them. But maybe you have a question. How do I know which is my fretting hand? And how do I know which is my playing hand? Well, a good question is, how do you play air guitar? Right? How would you mimic the guitar? If you feel like you're doing the strumming part with the hand that's kind of lower, that's the hand you feel rhythm with, and that's the one that should be the sounding hand. The fretting hand is the other hand. Okay, so let's return to the guitar. But before we do that, let's make sure we've got some kind of guitar support. I have this. This is called the Sage support. It uses magnets that you stick on the inside of the guitar. This works incredibly well, with the exception of if you have to fly and check your bag, because at that point they've had problems with the tape sticking, and then all of a sudden you have magnets flying around inside your guitar. Not a great thing, but otherwise I highly recommend it. There's a variety of supports out there. I can certainly give you a myriad of recommendations. But in the meantime, if you don't have a guitar support, or if you don't have a strap, ideally you have a strap that connects from here to here, but sometimes you can kind of get away with the ones up here, but you feel like a seesaw. If you don't have a guitar support or a strap, what you can do is sometimes grab pillows. And use those to kind of prop up the guitar. Because what we're going to be looking for is that there's a little bit of an angle there. But before we do that, find a balanced self, for lack of better terms, because it's not a position. I'm looking for something that's free and alert, not relaxed. For many people, that's what relaxed is. If it means something else to you, great. But we're looking for something that's alert, free, not stiff or dead. And that could also be standing. If you've got a strap and you can stand with your guitar, highly recommend it. I would love to do that. But at any rate, so go ahead and bring, once you find that balanced state of being, bring the guitar to you. I'm going to use the pillow. Set this on my knee. I'm going to put the guitar on top of it. Cool. Now, if you feel it's kind of slippery, maybe you've got something like this. This is cabinet lining, and you can find this at grocery outlet or Walmart or whatever, and it's great. It's not very expensive, especially if you find it on discount. I found the bigger squared, thicker one works the best, and for some reason the lighter colors like white are more sticky than the darker. I don't know why that is. But whether you have a guitar strap, you can wrap it around there so it doesn't slip. In this case, I'm using the pillow instead of my nice fancy guitar support, just to show you how it can be done. And what I'm looking for is to bring the guitar to me, so I feel I don't reach out over it first. I want to be balanced, free, bring the guitar to me to a place where it's on me, and I feel like I can move around it freely. It's almost like I can get, hey, that's pretty good. Look, Mom, no hands. And then once you get that, then you can move around the guitar and you can start to play. Now, one of the things that can sometimes happen as you do this, if you're wearing short sleeves, you get stuck on the guitar. You can alleviate that problem, still wear short sleeves, by finding a sock that's been washed but has a hole in it and cut off the top of the tube and put it on your arm. So let's review holding the guitar. Again, you'll notice in the photo that I have a guitar support. And as I demonstrated before, there's a lot of ways to do it. You can use a pillow, which I was using with the in combination with the cabinet lining so it wouldn't slip. But you could also use a guitar strap. And again, that cabinet lining is great so it doesn't slip. Second, allow yourself to be awake and balanced. Relaxed can often mean we're kind of half asleep. So we're not looking for relaxed necessarily, unless relaxed to you is awake and balanced. But we're looking for alert. Not stiff, but alert. Awake and free above all else. And remember, if you're sitting is just standing with your legs folded. So your legs don't have to fall asleep. They can be as active as everything else. In fact, they are. Once you're in a balanced state, go ahead and bring the guitar to you. And what we're looking for is what I have, where the headstock is somewhat raised to avoid the extreme supination. That's where your hand is open to the sky, which is kind of an intense way to play. A good sign that you've got a pretty good balance is one, that you can do the look, Mom, no hands, but also that you can move freely around the guitar while it moves with you. And again, if you ever get caught, you can use a sock to cover your bare arm if you're wearing short sleeves. Okay, so that's the fundamentals. Now we can get started. Looking forward to this class with you guys. Bye.